I know many of you have been waiting for this video for quite some time. So today I've created a video specifically relating to settings for the Nokta Legend that are specific to iron infested sites. There's two types of settings that I use for the Nokta Legend. The first one was a very refined setting for specific for old tokens, old coppers, and old silver. And that link for that video you'll find below. You can click on that and watch that. That's very cut and dry. It's right to the point for the settings only. This one, I'm going to run through the settings. Each one, I'm going to give a brief description of each one and the reasons why I use it. I've turned down the sensitivity. You can see here it's right at 1. And that's because if I have it any higher, it's going to interfere with the surroundings here. I've also lowered the threshold to 0 as well, so you also don't hear any background noise. But I'll touch base on that when I get to that setting. So let's go right into this. Let's get right into the settings and I'll show you exactly what I use here. Now, just before I begin, these settings are for iron infested sites. And there's tone break set in here, which allows the user to hear all the iron and also be able to pick out the very high conductors, like the old copper coins and silver coins mixed in with the iron. And guys, these settings will even permit you to pick out coins underneath iron nails. Not beside iron nails, not from 6 inches deep. We're talking about all depths and we're talking about under iron nails, guys. So let's get into this and I'll show you exactly the settings that I use for the Legend. So here we go, recovery speed 3. I use recovery speed 3. It's not the fastest recovery speed. And if you guys know the Legend, the higher you turn that number, the less depth you're going to achieve. It doesn't matter which coil you use, you're going to get a decrease in depth when you use a higher recovery speed. 3 is a bit of a sweet spot. It allows me to still, no matter if I'm using this small 6.5 by 9 coil or I'm using the LG35, which is the big monster 13.5 by 12.5, this still allows me to get in between targets if I need to and be able to pick out stuff as well. Again, guys, that's really not important with this setting because I'm still picking up coins under iron. So, recovery speed 3. Iron filter 3. I find that's another great setting. It's a bit of a sweet spot for the Legend. I find going higher doesn't provide me with the same results as what I have 3. Even lower doesn't provide me with the same results either. So iron filter's at 3 and the stability of the Legend I have at 5. The stability and the iron filter work together. So combined with the lower recovery speed at 3, the iron filter at 3, and the stability setting at the highest, which is 5, they all work together. So it allows me to still have some stability when dealing with iron and also be able to give me the ability to still pick out those coins and everything like that, as I've explained. So let's go over to the volume level. The volume level is at 3, guys. Do not run your volume level at 10. You're going to blow your speaker, you're going to damage your speaker. And guys, it doesn't matter whether you're in your vehicle or you're at home, if you turn your stereo at full blast, you're going to ruin the speaker. Even for split seconds, guys, that burst of energy at maximum volume to a speaker will ruin the speaker and blow the speaker. Guys, use your error, use your common sense, lower the volume. It's exactly the same as driving a car. You don't drive it at maximum speed limit at 300 kilometers an hour. You drive lower. If you drive at higher speeds, you're more likely to get into an accident, damage to the vehicle. It's the same thing for speakers, guys. So a volume level at 3 is what I use. It's great for the headphones that I use. And also, when I'm making videos with live digs, a setting at 3 really allows the video to pick up the tones as well. So there's no need to kill the speaker when we're in a high volume. So 3 is great. Audio gain I have at 4. I think the standard one that comes with the Legend or the stock setting for this is 3. I've notched it up 1. Just gives me a little bit of advantage on maybe some of those really deep targets, but it still allows me to hear the depth based on tone. If you turn this setting higher on the audio gain, any higher than 4, those really deep targets and the shallow targets are starting to sound almost exactly the same. So you can't really hear the variables in depth of your targets, which I find is a benefit for a metal detectorist. If you get a repetitive signal and it's deep, you can actually hear it through tone as well. So audio gain I have at 4. Let's go to the next setting. Oh, get out of there. Let's go up to now everything to do with tones we're dealing with here. So I use pitch. Pitch tones are great, especially when combined with a high tonal pitch. It really allows those squeaky silver and copper coins, those high conductive tones to really come through. Volume as well. So here is where we get into the nitty-gritty of these settings specific for iron infested sites. So anything from 1 to 34, I have a low volume of 4, so I can still hear the tones of the iron. They're just not at the same high volume level as my other tones. So even so, I'm going to be bombarded with tones and signals because I'm discriminating in 1 to 35. 1 to 55, anything from 1 to 34, I'm going to hear, but it's going to be faint. It's not going to be overwhelming for me. So 1 to 34 I have is 4. 35 to 60 I have at maximum volume, which is 10. This, don't worry about this. This isn't your overall volume. It's just the volume for the tones, but you adjust that on your overall detector volume, which we had at 3. So don't worry about that. That can be at max, and the other I have at 4. That allows the high conductors to really stand out amongst all the signals I'm hearing in my headphones or through the speaker. So let's go over to, this is like a tonal pitch, and this is really an important setting where this is concerned, because from 1 to 34 I have a very low grunt. So maybe I can listen as I turn it up. Hear how it increased? I don't want that. All the iron's going to fit in between that 1 and 34. It's kind of like the base of the speaker. So 1 to 34, I'm going to hear that really deep, low grunt. And then watch 35 to 60. It's at 30, it's at max. So I'm going to hear anything, those high conductives, those copper coins, those silver coins, is going to really squeak out and give me some high signals there, where anything lower from 1 to 34 is going to be just a really low volume grunt. So that's an important setting, guys. Now the tone break. Again, 1 to 34 is my tone break. Anything higher is going to fall into a different tonal bracket. So this here works in conjunction with that. I can lower this, guys. If you think that you want to detect anything from 20 to 55 or 20 to 60, you can lower this. Look. Now, anything from 1 to 20 is going to be that low grunt. Anything from 20 to 55, or whatever you set up here, is going to be the very high pitch. So you can change this depending on what you're finding. If you're on a site where there's a ton of garbage coming in between 20 and 30, which is very common for my area, I can just increase this. I keep it at 34. I think it's great. I don't miss too much. A lot of buttons and all sorts of things come in here. So I'm happy with that. So that's important. That's another important setting. These all work in coordination with each other. They're important. The next one is going to be your threshold. And I have it at 0, but I would normally do 12 or 15. This is the background hum that you hear in your headphones. I think I have it at 12. That's great. It doesn't need to be at max. But I've lowered it so you guys don't have to bear with listening to that and me at the same time. And this one here, this again is like it's like a tonal pitch. I've maximized that tonal pitch at 30. I don't want to have it any lower. I've already set my tone breaks. So my tone break was 34, and I've set everything to do with the volume and the pitch lower. Anything higher is where I want to maintain. So I run it at 30. I think that's great. It all works together. So let's just go back and go through this one more time. So we're at pitch, high volume for the top end, lower volume for the bottom end. Another tonal pitch, 1 to 34 is just that low grunt. On the higher end, it's the very, very high pitch. You'll hear all this, and you'll hear the high squeakers trying to come through. Tone break, you can adjust this depending on what you like and the fines that you have in your area. 1 to 34 is what I like. All of this will give me a deep, grunty sound. I don't want anything in there, to tell you the honest truth. Especially if I'm looking for, I'm a coin hunter. You know what, I might miss the odd musket ball and maybe the odd button, which might be worth thousands, who knows? But I like coins. I like the old copper coins, I like the tokens, I like the old silver, I like the Spanish silver, I like all that stuff. This is a coin hunter's program. It doesn't mean you're gonna miss buttons or things like that. This is just more tailored for those high conductors. When we get on those sites, we're looking for those old coins. They're great to find. And again, that's your threshold. That was at 12. And again, that last one I keep at 30. So other than that, guys, everything else, save your patterns, your light, your vibrate, all that stuff. Your the backlight there, the flashlights on the front and everything else. That's pretty much it. And then that's it, guys. So everything is set up. I have this on both of my Legends. And pretty much I just switch in between the two, but this one is really good for those old home sites, farm fields where you don't know if there was a house there 300 years ago. By listening to all the iron and everything in the ground, it allows you to know when you're getting closer to a potential site. Those old homes that are no longer there, there's stuff in the ground, guys. There's iron nails, there's bits of debris. If you don't hear that debris, you're not going to know that you're in a site that can produce the stuff that you're looking for, which, again, Coin Hunters program, you're looking for those old coins and the silvers. This will allow you to pick the stuff out from underneath those iron nails and the debris. But that's why this is important, to hear all the tones. Some people can't deal with all the tones, but I think they don't have things set up right. They're listening to all the tones at the same volume level. You don't need to. You want to hear all the iron and all the debris, but it doesn't have to be so loud as the stuff you're looking for. You just lower things and adjust these settings as I've showed you in the Legend. So if you guys have any other questions, please send me a private message. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you, or leave a comment down below. Keep the comments positive, guys. Everything has to be positive. It's about learning. It's not about criticizing. We already all know that everybody has different settings for different things. This is what works for me. I've done a lot of testing with the Legends that I have. I also represent Nokta for Canada. I have all the coils. I've done lots of tests. I've done it all, and I've done it for many years. I'm over 40 years in metal detecting, and I know what works and I know what doesn't work. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys getting to this point. Please hit that thumbs up, like the video. I'm sure you've learned something from it. Leave a comment too. I'd be more than happy to answer questions, and My other viewers, I'm sure, would be happy to answer questions as well, and we can all support each other enjoying the same hobby. So anyway, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.